This is a test of the Boundary Park alert system.
The unmistakable sounds, Andy, of Tranmere away there in chronological order.
Very enjoyable, that, wasn't it? I have to thank, I can't remember his name, the lad that does the sort of, he travels around up and down the country watching different teams play and does a vlog. So I nicked the audio from his vlog and a little bit from the official at the end. But I just thought that little stuff.
Around the grounds, it's called, isn't it?
That's it, yeah.
I think he's called Tom.
Yeah. I think he's a Yorkshire lad, isn't he?
He is a Yorkshire lad, but despite that, he's a nice fella.
Yeah.
So it was great. Yeah, what a day! All that audio there. That there was obviously the first goal. There was the second goal. There was the final whistle, which was there was the delicious noise of Tranmere fans booing in the background as well, which you could hear, which because he was filming that from the home end or from the home stand next to our stand, it wasn't audible from where we were, but that was brilliant. And then all that noise at the end was after everybody had left the stadium, and then like Oldham fans just stayed behind making a load of racket for ages. Nobody wanted to leave. Nobody wanted the party to stop. It was great. It was a really, really great day, really good game to be at. Our fan guest was there. He's currently recovering in his big fluffy dressing gown. We don't need much of an introduction. You've been on before, haven't you?
I have, yeah.
It's the captain. How are you doing, mate?
I'm all right. I'm very well. I'm not actually too rough, to be fair. I feel a little bit tired still, but I didn't actually go yesterday, neither, Matt. I managed to listen to bits of it, and I kept up to date with score, but I wasn't actually going. I'm off to Barnet next week, so you can't do every single game, can you? It becomes an expensive hobby, doesn't it?
It does when you factor in making it a boozy day like yesterday. Definitely was for me. It started at Piccadilly Station about 10 o'clock with a full English and a pint of bitter. I've never felt more English in my life.
Fantastic.
And that was it then. Yeah, and met up with you, Andy, at Lime Street.
Yeah,
I was already a good few Guinnesses into it by then. Nice pub, the Crown Hotel, the first one over the road from the station. Cracking pint of Guinness in there. Yeah,
no, it was nice. You had one waiting for me when I arrived. You'd already got there before, which was good. Yeah, I'd had the journey up from Euston about 10 o'clock as well. I'll tell you what, on that train, I'll tell you about it on the way up and down. On the way up, it was absolutely riddled with Liverpool fans with Cockney accents. And all of them, not one of them, not a Scouse accent to be heard on that train, all Cockneys. When did it become socially acceptable to do this? I just think it's really wrong. Absolutely full of them it was. Mad.
Well, look, I mean, listen, there was a young man in the pub yesterday in the Crown in Liverpool who had a very, very Cockney accent, or very, very London accent, not a Cockney, let's say. He's brought up in a much more affluent part of London than that. But he is an Oldham fan with a London. He was your son, Andy.
Yeah.
Come on. Isn't this a case of the pot calling the kettle black? I mean, clearly he's just a young glory hunter, isn't he?
So I've got a theory, right? This is what if I was Prime Minister, right, I'd bring in the first law I'd pass to get through the Lords would be that you could only choose to support a football club that was listed on your birth certificate, right? And it was basically, it's a circle drawn around the hospital you were born in. I'd amend the rule to allow you to carry over the clubs that were on your parents' birth certificates, and that's it. So that's my son, fine, because he's carrying Latics forward on the basis that I'm a Latics fan. So therefore he can support Latics. But you can't come from Surrey to a parent from Kent and Sussex and choose to support Liverpool. I'd make it an immediate 2-year prison sentence.
This is the kind of this is the kind of populist policy, Andy, that's really catching on. So you never know. You might be onto a winner there. Well, speaking of being onto a winner, did you listen? Did you say you managed to listen to it, Tez, on the radio
today on the score on Sky Sports, etc. But it was a fantastic win. I had a feeling that we might do something. It were written for Norwood to score, wasn't it? That was you could have put your mortgage on that one. But I think by all accounts they had quite a few chances and they seemed a little bit wasteful. To be fair, I think we might have rode our luck a little bit. I've watched the highlights and stuff, and the layoff from Klukas for Norwood to put that in is absolutely unbelievable. He looks like he sounded like a decent player. I don't think we played badly. I just think we rode our luck a little bit. I think they were a bit wasteful. But I think that's the story of their season as well. Hence the reason why the manager's been sacked as well. So, but yeah, good win into the hat for the next round, and all these looking good. I think every single Oldham fan I know is in positive spirits at the minute. We're going well.
I yesterday was anyone that I was talking to before the game. We are definitely going to win this game today. I went into that game with absolutely no doubt whatsoever that we were going to win, and we went a goal behind. And I think I'm right in saying that's the first time this season we've gone a goal behind and gone on to win the game. I think we've drawn games that we've been in a losing position from. I don't think we've won a game from a losing position until yesterday. So I think that's true. We can obviously have a look at that now and check it. But what a time to do it. And it was, they were a bit wasteful, but we had a perfectly good goal from a corner disallowed. I don't know why he didn't give that. Andy, did you get a good view of that?
I've watched it on the replay. I still can't fathom out why I didn't give it. It looked
exactly.
I'm
Neil Poynton-esque, weren't it? Corner, straight in. No pushing and shoving in the box that I could see.
I watched it as well, Matt, and I'm still clueless. I've rewound it 3 or 4 times to see what.
Same.
And nothing happened.
Nothing happened. No, and there was a very, very good shout for a penalty, a push on. I think it was Norwood. Sent him tumbling in the box. That wasn't given. The referee yesterday was not good, was he, Andy?
No, he was getting. I mean, my lad was saying to me, "What are they singing about the referee?" I said, "He's a plonker, mate. He's a plonker." Yeah, okay. No, he was definitely. What you call a classic homer, wasn't he? Really, just going with a home side for a lot of it. It was terrible for much of that first half. I mean, Tez's point is right to a degree. They had the first half hour. They had a lot of the ball, and they looked better than us. But that's because we're playing 3-5-2 with Klukas at centre half in Mont's position, just left side of Raglan. Can you play that clip now, Matt, please, from Sam Klukas's interview that he gave when he confirmed signing on Thursday, I think, or whatever day it was?
Yeah, very versatile. I think I've played in near enough most positions, apart from centre half, probably.
Short but sweet, but yeah, gets to the point. He's never played there.
Were they trolling us on Thursday? Were the clubs? Did he know he was playing centre half on Thursday, and they were trolling us? Because I reckon he might have done. I've never played centre half before, And then because when he lined up at centre half, I was then doubting myself. I was like, I'm sure I heard him say he never played this position before, and then it really did look like he'd never played that position before, didn't it? Because he looked really out of place there. Like there was a couple of they scored their goal coming down our right hand side, their right hand side, our left hand side, and they had a lot of sort of look down there, and we looked completely outsourced. Then I don't know whether you noticed, either there was a break in play or some of that happened as a free kick or whatever. And Raglan was called over to the bench, and he ran over, and they gave him a piece of paper, and he ran back onto the pitch with this piece of paper, reading it. And I was watching him as he come back on, reading it, and then he's looking at it, looking up around the pitch, looking at the paper, and then they attacked another corner, and then he ripped the piece of paper up and threw it on the floor behind Hudson's goal. I was thinking to myself, I wouldn't mind getting that and sellotaping it back together again and see what it said, read it out. But obviously, what it said was we're going to change formation of some description. And then, now, tell me what you think, because to me, it looked like we'd gone 4-3-3. Yeah. And then I was doubting myself, saying, well, hang on, is it 4-4-2 because they're 4-4-2 if we matched them? But then one of my mates has said to me it was 4-2-3-1. But it was, whatever it was fluid because Klukas was ending up right alongside Norwood with Drummond on the other side. So it looked like 4-3-3 to me, but it could have been any manner of those. But I tell you what, it didn't have to make a difference, didn't it?
Well, I mean, him being in that advanced position, just having the wherewithal, like Tez mentioned before, for the goal, just to roll that ball back to him. Very, very composed finish from Norwood, just strokes it exactly where it needed to go into the bottom corner. Really, really good goal. And I think Norwood had another really, really good chance with a header that he should have scored, or should have at least hit the target, but he put it over. But he did what he was contractually and in terms of the football gods and all that, what he was obliged to do yesterday, which was pop up and score against Tranmere. And like I said, I didn't. If it would have been the other way around, if we'd have been in the bottom, not struggling in League Two, Tranmere were flying and had lost 2 games all season in the National League, and they were coming to Boundary Park. I'd have been saying the same. I'd have been saying, "There's no way we're winning this today. Tranmere are going to beat us," and it was all aligned to be that result yesterday. But the thing is, as well as the occasion, and it's like it was one of those. It felt like we're not back yet. Okay, I don't consider us being back, in inverted commas, until we're back in League One. That's where all this nonsense started. That's where we were for 20 odd years, and significant. We were playing at least that level for a significant amount of time longer than that. So getting back to League One is kind of like, right, Oldham are back now where we need to be to really hopefully build on and kick on and end up in the Championship. But it felt like an occasion where you could say that, considering where we've been and how we've been playing for the last couple of seasons, we're back. We're back as a serious football team again, and that felt really good. And I think that was why, when the final whistle went yesterday, the fans wanted to stay behind. Obviously, beating Tranmere is a bit special because we like to hate each other, Oldham and Tranmere, and rightly so. Good banter and all that. But it was that feeling yesterday that we've got a proper football team again now, and we're a proper football club again now, and let's enjoy it. And that was the overriding sense of I think it was a lot of emotions, but there was a lot of pride there yesterday after that final whistle. Rightly so, because we've all stuck through it when we've had incredibly low moments and skulked away from away ends with our heads down and, mourning and wondering what the hell's going on. Yesterday, we were able to hold our heads up high, and we had a team there that was lacking two in the team, two of the sort of the talisman, if you like, of this season. Manny and Mikey both missing from the team, and
Harry Charsley has been out injured. Don't forget him. He was him and Month were two of our best players, I think. Well, yeah, and Mikey as well. We're sort of leading that team for the first half dozen games. So we have three players that have been contributing to come back in yet. No, it really is. But this is the thing, you see, like. When we were in the pub beforehand, we were with Chris Stringer as well. Chris Stringer called 2-1. I said 2-0 to us. I thought we were going to win. It's part of the reason, other than it being a sellout, part of the reason I wanted to bring my lad up is I want him to experience the away end, because he doesn't get to go to many like that. It took him to Rochdale last year, and I'll take him to Rochdale again in a few weeks just to get into it, because he loved it, the atmosphere. In fact, it was a bit overwhelming for him to start with, but once he got into it, he loved it. Yeah. But the point is, the top end of the National League is better than the bottom half of League Two, I think. And it showed, like, Dagenham and Redbridge beat Crewe yesterday at Crewe. Crewe are fifth in League Two. Alex Reid scored the winner at Grimsby for Wealdstone. Yeah. And then Grimsby is struggling. League Two and the National League are pretty much of a muchness, which is why if you threw this squad into League Two, we'd be top half, no problem, I think, with the squad we've got at the minute. I'm not saying we'd go up. We probably need to adjust a little bit more, get a bit more.
Certainly need to strengthen, wouldn't we? But but it can compete. It showed it can compete now yesterday.
Oh yeah, it could easily compete. We'd be absolutely no trouble in League Two now, and that bodes well because you've got to give credit to. I mean, Sam Clucas is a Rolls Royce of a player for our league, isn't he? And he was playing in the Championship last season. He's played in the Championship or the Premier League for much of the last few years of his career. He's going to be a serious player, which will bring me on to my other observation is we talked about Lundstrom the other week. Give that boy a contract now, because he was great yesterday, wasn't he? He's got all of a sudden he's got so much more strength on the ball, and his engine is superb, and he gets up and down. And his final ball sometimes still lacks, doesn't it? But he's a young lad, and he'll still learn. It's like one where he gave it to Drummond, where he hit it high into the side netting, where I'd have gone the other way to Norwood. It's those decisions in the final third sometimes lacks, but I give him a contract. And then if you've got Lundstrom in the middle and you're going to play Clucas in the middle where he should really play, there's a chance Conlon doesn't catch this team. And Conlon played quite well yesterday, by the way. But there's a chance he doesn't get in. But it's a good position to be in, isn't it? To be like, well, how do you fit all these players into the team?
Well, it certainly puts pressure in the right way on Conlon as the captain, to perform for 90 minutes, because he can be taken off, and we've seen that in recent games where he's come off and brought somebody else on, and we've got those options now within the midfield, and if somebody's not, and look, players aren't at it every single game, and sometimes you need to make a change. But the important thing is that we've got some depth in this squad now to be able to do it and change formation. We've seen it a few times this season where Mickey's done that when it's not quite working out, change personnel when it's not working out, and we are absolutely right to be optimistic. Tez, how are you feeling from like now compared to the start of the season? Because I did mention to Andy that we might do a little bit of a review of the predictions come Christmas halfway through, because we've seen a lot of this team that we didn't know about. Have you changed your view much since the start of the season to now?
I have a little bit. Yeah, I'm more confident. I must admit. Yeah, definitely more upbeat. Before the season started, I thought if we hit playoffs, we'll be lucky. I genuinely thought that, but and I've not been as excited. I've like everybody else. I've just become a bit sort of skeptical, if you like. But yeah, since then, I think we'll get playoffs minimum. I think there's a real chance we could win the league without spouting off and going off too early. But I think there's a real. If we have a good run, we've got a few hard games now, haven't we? We've got Rochdale, we've got Barnet, and there's another big away game we've got. And if we can pick up some points against these that are in and around us, I think come Christmas we might be flying.
Yeah, I mean, I was looking down at that list, starting yesterday, going through to the end of the month, away at Boston.
Ah, that's right, yeah.
And it was. Oh no, is it a home to Boston? Sorry. So I was like, Tranmere, yeah, we'll win that. Barnet, we've got a really good record at Barnet. I can see us going there and winning. We've got Tamworth at home. Yeah, Barnet haven't drawn a game yet this season, so there might be that the first time to draw a game. Or yeah, look, they might beat us, but who knows? I'm going into the game with confidence that we might win. We've got Tamworth at home, despite their long throw specialist defeating Huddersfield. I still fancy us to win that. I fancy us to beat Rochdale, and fancy us to beat Boston. So I feel now like we're going to beat those teams that are down below us, like that are right down the bottom. Tamworth and Boston's at home. Yeah. I don't think it might not be brilliant. It might not be pretty. We might not have, we might not beat them 5-0, but I think we'll beat them. And then the most important thing then is to start closing the gap as we get towards Christmas on the teams at the top of us, above us. And then, like you said, come Christmas time, there could be three or four teams that have got a chance of winning the league and are fighting it out in the second half of the season. Definitely.
And it's a pleasing place to be in, if I'm honest. I'm really enjoying that. We're playing well. Like you said, it doesn't have to be pretty. Gaz Melia said something similar when we had Unsworth. He said it won't be. If it's not going to be pretty football, you need to pick up points. And against them at home, it wasn't pretty, but we managed to get the win. And I think this team and Mellon they can adapt as well. So if we are getting overrun and we change formation, everybody seems to be able to adapt to it. And that's why I think we've come away with some points. Whereas I think last year we'd have lost a couple or drawn a couple more, and wouldn't have been able to sort of maybe turn it into 3 points. Where I think this year, I definitely think the ship's turned. I don't think I've ever been more confident in saying that.
Well, you'd know. You're the captain at the end of the day.
The ship is definitely turning.
And that's the thing about the FA Cup. I love the FA Cup. It's absolutely brilliant. It's the best cup competition in the world. It pitches the smallest of teams, amateur teams, potentially against European elites. It's a brilliant competition, and it's just what we needed yesterday. Like this season, looking at that, we've mentioned it loads of times on the podcast, but looking at that fixture list at the start of this season, it was the most non-league of our non-league experiences. Very, very few games to get really, really up for away from home, and to get that game against Tranmere where we were able to go and pack out an away end and put our old rivals to bed was just fantastic. And there's a genuine excitement now. There's some really, really attractive games, potentially away trips in the second round. However, I would like a really, really basic, straightforward draw.
Yeah.
Well, as far as it comes, like a home tie against a very non-league opposition would be ideal.
Absolutely, because you're now so close to the third round where you could get a big payday, and it's about the money. Yeah. It's about the money for the Rothwells, isn't it? Obviously we're not going to go to Wembley, and we're not going to win it. So you want us to earn a payday to help them, to help us get up with the budget and the finances. If you have a little skip, I mean, the draw is tonight. It's usually on a Monday, but it's tonight. I think at about 7:45. I think. So by the time this comes out, we'll have already done the draw. So it's pointless like pondering over who we might get. But if you have a quick skim down those that like you described, like Tamworth in our league, Brackley Town are in it, Gainsborough Trinity are in it. Who else is further down there? Is there Cheshire have got to play league? Harbour Town. Those are the types of draws that you want, really, don't you, at home to try and get through. But it's interesting because you could. This is the point, and I'll bring the conversation back to Norwood in a minute. But it's sometimes difficult. I find it as a fan difficult to get myself up for Solihull Moors. You're just like Solihull Moors or whatever it may be, Tamworth or whatever. But when you got a Tranmere away, you're up for it. You're like it's a proper league club, like us, proper league club, decent sized club. You're up against them. There's a bit of history. You get up for it. I feel that can be the same for the players. They're professionals, so they should get up for every game. But they're only human. I guess we're professional fans, but I find it hard. So I think James Norwood. I think Mellon has handled him cutely. We said this a few weeks back. I think that he is a handful. Clearly, he's a handful. Clearly, he's got a little bit of arrogance and attitude about him, and sometimes keeping that under control is probably a bit of a man-manager's, nightmare. But I think, not playing him against Dagenham and Redbridge when Fondop's been in form was part of his tactic to get in his head, under his skin. And I don't think Mellon had any plans not to play James Norwood from the start against Tranmere. And I'd have done the same. So he was getting on at him, and presumably he's been talking to him privately saying, come on, you are my talisman, you are my best forward, but you're going to have to start putting it in. And I want to see you lead the line. And my God, did he lead the line yesterday? He was absolutely immense yesterday, James Norwood. He won. He's bearing in mind he's not the tallest player. He won loads of headers. He held the ball up brilliantly. He used his strength. He was an absolute menace, and he looked really up for it. But you've got to get him up for Tamworth away, haven't you? And that's the issue. It's the old can he do it at Stoke on a Tuesday night? Can he do it against Tamworth in a National League? That's where he seems to not perform. It's like at Maidenhead when he came on for 20 minutes, he looked disinterested to me. But when he came on for 20 minutes at Sutton, he looked great. And he's obviously one of those players where you've got to manage him. And surely Mellon knows how to do that, how to get the best out of him, how to get him at the point where he's chomping at the bit. Because if he can do that from now to the end of the season, James Norwood will be absolutely superb for us. So I was well pleased with yesterday. And if we're going to talk about the forward line, obviously there's been rumours circulating all week. And then I think Suzanne Geldard said again last night that we might have some news next week. So everybody is putting two and two together and assuming that is Josh Stones. There's a rumour knocking about that it might be a loan, but with a view to permanent. So we might be trying to sign him permanently at some stage when that's possible, whether that's January or the end of the season. But Stones and Norwood for half a dozen games or what it was last year, 4 or 5 games last year, looked like a decent partnership. You could end up with Mikey Fondop being where I always assume Mikey Fondop will be, which is as an impact substitute, as opposed to starting every week. So yeah, it's looking good, isn't it? It's looking exciting.
Yeah,
signing players affecting the team.
I think getting the best out of Norwood is this sounds very simplistic, but I think you need to surround him with better players. Like you put like that, the goal yesterday, that back heel. Maybe not every other player would have had the wherewithal to do it, and the ability to just lay it off. Norwood was in a position where that's what he expected, what he wanted to happen, so he was ready to finish it. And I think the squad that Mickey Mellon is building is doing exactly that. He's adding better players all the time to the squad, and that's him bringing out the best in everybody in the squad. There's a confidence now and a belief that just permeates from the pitch to the stands and vice versa. I am going to mention yesterday because I know the atmosphere was fantastic, but there was a spell I thought in the first half where it was struggling to get. Well, after they scored, it went a little bit flat. The drum was banging, but there wasn't much in the way of singing going on, and it took the goal to sort of really reignite the away end, and it's that, and then after that it was just non-stop. And I think it was just that's the thing. Like there's that contribution from both. The team are able to get the fans going, and the fans are able to get the team going at different times, and it does feel like at the end there when we were all stood around, they're all Tranmere had cleared off, and the players and the chairman and the fans were all in it together. And that was just fantastic. Really, really encouraging. Because, we've rewind, Suzanne posted a picture, didn't she, on Twitter of, I'd forgotten that we played Tranmere like at the end of our last season in League Two, an away game. I didn't go to it. And yeah, we've come a long way since then, haven't we?
Oh yeah. That was that straight after the Salford home game, or just before it?
I think it was the last game. I think it was the last game of the season, wasn't it?
And everyone went wearing black. That game. Yeah, I didn't go to that game, but I remember it. Yeah, no, we've come a long way, and that's what that's what the Rothwells have done, haven't they? Frank. Did you see Frank get involved in Mickey's interview at the end of the game? Like he looked like he was loving it, and that's what I like to see. I like to see them enjoying themselves because they're £20 million deep now, and probably increasing, and they've got to get some of that back somewhere. And I'm absolutely delighted with how it's gone for them because they deserve to get the enjoyment out of their investment too.
100%.
Tottenham merch, sexy merch. It's Tottenham merch. It's sexy, sexy, sexy merch.
Visit weareoldham.co.uk/shop now to see our brand new range of hot, sexy merch.
Tottenham merch, sexy merch. It's Tottenham merch. It's sexy, sexy, sexy merch.
Shall we have a listen to Mickey?
Go on then.
Mickey, can you put that into words?
Yeah, all about the supporters and the players, it really is. Came here today and we knew that we were capable of a big performance. And
I've never seen so much joy and so much joy in 2,000 people's hearts today. Oldham, heart of Oldham was here today, and it's 10 minutes since the game. Put the camera in there. They don't want to leave. They don't want to leave. It's so long since we went to see your jacket. Woo!
Well, I mean, that's what it's all about. And Frank take care of the football club and his family for days like this. And we want to be able to make sure that we try and get them more. But no, it wasn't just a good result. I thought it was a terrific performance. I thought we were excellent all the way through. We lost that early goal, but we just kept going. We shuffled things a wee bit. But we looked such a good, strong side all the way right through. And the players and the support. I mean, the supporters, it was just ridiculous. That was fantastic. That's what it's all about. They got right behind us and the players responded. And no, it's a really good day.
You mentioned about coming from behind. To stay to come back like that against the side in the league above, what does that say about the quality and character of the team?
Well, I think we believe. I've got to give the players credit. I know they're a good group. We've lost a few players with illness before the kick-off. Manny had to call off this morning. Couple more were struggling a little bit. But to go and put in a performance like that, and I really thought that we were comfortable in our skins. It wasn't like we were sort of reaching outside of our comfortable performance levels. I thought that we were well in them and we showed some great composure at really important times. But no, I'm really, really pleased.
Manny's clearly been a huge player for this season. How much credit does the lads deserve for readjusting in his absence and obviously the team?
Huge, because like you said, Alan, Manny's been massive for us, and his pace and his power are really, really important to us. But when we sort of set about trying to put this team together, we sort of thought about scenarios and things like that. and we believed that we had players that could step in and do a job for us when needed, and today they were able to do that.
Jesu took the run, came off the bench, scored the decisive goal. What did you say that you expected from him?
I just thought that it was going to be that type of game. It was just about when we were going to put him on. I thought Clucas, I mean, he's not done played, but we knew his composure and his know-how were going to be very important. But at some stage, we knew we were going to go with Jez because his pace and his 1v1 abilities, because the game was going to become stretched, and Jez is brilliant in them. And he goes and gets us the winner. So no, I'm really pleased for him as well. He's a great kid. And we're really pleased to have him here.
James Norwood scored the equalising goal. Big game for the big player for the big game even.
Yeah, we just thought about it. We thought about how we wanted to go. Michael's got a wee bit of a tweaked hamstring, so it kind of nudges us towards having to think about it. And when you just think about coming across here, I mean, I said to him yesterday, I said, look, we're all we're football romantics. I said, wouldn't it be good if you could go back and get yourself a goal and play like you did today? And yeah, he was excited about that, and I thought he was brilliant. I really did. I thought he was brilliant. That's the James Norwood that we want to see. If he keeps performing like that, we'll take some stock. Because he led the line so well. But right across the whole team, got a lot of good young players there who showed some great composure and put in some top performances. So no, really good.
We've spoken a few times about the progress that's been made this season. Is it another indication of that?
Last year we went to Newport, and I was really flat about that, because it was a measurement of where we were up in that, and I thought it just looked, I don't know, we weren't the Oldham that I wanted us to become. Today is definitely moving towards the Oldham that we need to see. The Oldham supporters and the owners deserve days like this. This is why we get brought in, to try and make sure that we work hard and get in moments like this. So Oldham needs more of these to climb back to where it should be. And we'll work hard to try and keep delivering on that.
Just to finish off, I know you mentioned a few times we've got over 2,200 supporters here today. As an occasion, it was magnificent.
Oh, listen, it was breathtaking. It was amazing. I thought it was a really good game. I thought it was really exciting. I really did. I thought, wow, this is going end to end. This is a proper game, and the fans absolutely played the part in it. And I'll be honest with you, I think if they'd given us another 1,000 to 1,500, would have sold them as well. Such was the demand to want to be involved in days like this for the supporters. So no, they got a good day, and they can go and get safely home now and enjoy the weekend. And then the important thing, what you want to be able to do as a manager and a group of players is get the supporters that moment in front of the telly, while looking to see who you're going to pull out the hat in the next round. So that's terrific. So I'm really pleased with that. All right, guys, thank you.
Absolutely brilliant stuff. I just really like Mickey Mellon now. I just think he's great. I like his interviews when we're winning. So and do you know what? I like his interviews when we're not doing so well as well. I think he's been explaining it pretty much how it is after games, and I've been buzzing. I want to mention that goal from Jez because we haven't spoke about it yet. And my initial thought was, like the commentator, that it had taken a deflection, because from where I was, it just looked like it looped over the goalkeeper, and it's just like he kind of meant it. It was, and then I've looked back at it, and he totally meant it, didn't he? He was looking up at the goal. He took a look up at the goal. He kind of curled it with a kind of curled in and sailed over the keeper's head into the top corner. It was a really good finish.
I thought it did take a slight deflection.
I don't think it did. The angles from right behind the goal suggest that it didn't. It just went straight in. So I think so. It was a great. But look, he's done it. He did it against. He's starting to do it more. He's starting to come in off that left-hand side and start having a pop. And he's obviously been told to start doing it because he's a lot more dangerous when he does that. And, you know, what a moment for him. There's a great picture on the website, like the main picture with him. Jez, like, flying through the air. His hair's all going everywhere. Kitchen's behind him with his arms out. There's a Tranmere player with his, like, head down. Just, it was fantastic. It really sums it all up. It's great. And, you know, a big smile on his face, taking a selfie with the crowd after the game, and hopefully these moments help him kick on.
Well, one of the other things to point out is, like Mickey says there about the fans. We knew it was going to be, well, once the draw was made, we knew we'd sell that away end out because it's just one of those games we go to. But there are players that probably have not experienced that, and maybe the likes of Jez and what have you can feed off it a bit, because like this club is waiting to explode, isn't it? Because we've said it before, we've gone the longest period of any established traditional football league club without any success, and so players that get involved in a successful period for this club are going to be, held on a pedestal as like heroes for a long time. And this squad of players can be part of that. So, you can go and play for someone else and pick up your wage and do your job, or you can be part of something that you'll take with you for the rest of your life. And so hopefully some of these players can feed off that sort of that tinderbox that's waiting to go off in the away end every week. You're right. It was a bit quiet after they scored. It's kind of normal. What that Clucas corner got everyone going again, and after that, it was fantastic. So, yeah, I'm hoping that everyone's feeding off it. I'm hoping the Rothwells are feeding off it, because we appreciate everything. I shook Frank's hand as I walked past him in the away end. It's great for them, to experience it. Other little bits I just want to talk about. When I'm laughing here because I know people I know will be picking me up for saying this, but when Norwood went off, when they subbed him off, did you notice anything? Do you notice what he did?
No.
So he clapped the 3 Tranmere stands, but he didn't clap ours, I don't think. He clapped the 3 Tranmere stands as he went off, and then he posted on social media something like, thanks for the welcome at Tranmere. It means a lot. I mean, obviously, big part of his career there, and he's going to have a lot of affinities to that club, and he played brilliantly yesterday. So as a professional, you couldn't knock him one bit, and I'm not knocking him, but it's just the way he is. There's it's just his character, isn't it? He's
like a shit stirrer, isn't he?
He's an absolute shit house, isn't he? And I don't care, because he's our shit house, and so that's absolutely fine. He can shit house as much as he wants. I really don't care.
But the payoff is he's got to get us 20 goals a season.
Well, that's it. He's got to put the performance in, because there is, I guess, there was a period at the back end of last season where fans were booing him, weren't there? Not that I'll ever get involved in booing my own players, but there isn't like an affinity with James Norwood and the fans as such. We've got a song for him and we sing that song, but he doesn't celebrate goals. I don't care about that. I don't care he's got his Barnsley kit on his social media profile. I don't even care that he posted in midweek I love a lunchtime Nando's. He's
I can get on board with that. I can get on board with a bit of banter.
He's the banter. I mean, he did tweet afterwards, after he tweeted the Tranmere fan saying thank you. He said great win, great performance. It's just part of his character. But I know people will pick up on it. But as long as he's scoring, I don't really care. I'll tell you the other thing that I noticed yesterday was, you know when Hudson threw the ball out because he went down injured, and he threw the ball out. And Tranmere didn't throw it back to us, and then they had a period of
they had a chance.
Well, they had a couple in 5 minutes. They were pressing 5 minutes. I wasn't sure. I thought that Hudson that was shithousery from Hudson. I thought he was throwing the ball out just to try and time waste. And I kind of, if that was the case, I was like, well, I don't really blame Tranmere for not giving it back to us if we're just trying to time waste. So I think sometimes if you're going to do that, you've got to be a bit aware, because that could have cost us a goal.
It wasn't towards the end of the game. It wasn't right towards the end of the game, though, was it? I thought
no, but we were 2-1 up, and let's say there were 15 minutes left, but he was already. But I hate it when teams start time wasting with 15 minutes to go. It's mad. But it looked like it, because it didn't look like he was, because they don't. Goalkeepers, they don't. If an outfield player goes down injured, they make him leave the pitch for a minute, and so that's to try and part of that is to try and provide a disincentive for people to time waste. Well, goalkeepers, they can't make them go off the pitch. So if a goalkeeper time wastes and feigns an injury, it kills the game for a minute or two while they get some treatment, then they can readjust. It felt like that's what we were trying to do. And I don't like it if that's what we were doing, because it nearly cost us afterwards.
But technically Tranmere should have given the ball back.
Well,
I mean, because we have to assume then, you have to give Hudson the benefit of the doubt that he needed, he needed a minute.
If we're playing Tranmere and Tranmere's goalkeeper tries to time waste 2-1 down, I don't want to give the ball back to him. And if we don't give him the ball back, screw it. Right. So that would be my attitude. But talking of shithousery, right? Let's talk about the best piece of shithousery of the weekend. And let's talk about our own Arlene Finnegan for a minute, can we? Because I don't know if anyone's noticed, but there was what's his name? Is he called Ethan? The chap that is involved with Tranmere. He's got a prevalent social media account. He contacted us weeks ago to ask us to answer some questions for the programme, and we got Arlene to do it because obviously she's a Scouser. And if you've got the programme, she's got a page, where she's answered some questions. But then afterwards, this Ethan contacted Arlene to say, I'm doing a scouting report as well. And so I'm scouting some of your players. Can you give me some information on your players? And Arlene put in our pod WhatsApp group, she was like, he's asking me to tell him what our strengths and weaknesses are. Shall I answer it? And we were like, no. So she gave him a load of nonsense. She said to him things like, you want to target Manny Month because he's too weak. Reagan Ogle's weak down the right-hand side. Everything goes through Conlon. He's the one who dictates the play. She gave him loads of stuff. And he started tweeting it. So I've done a scouting report on Tram, and loads of our fans were like, what is this rubbish? And we're laughing to ourselves because it's basically top work, Arlene. Nice one.
Absolutely. Yeah. There was a funny little moment. I don't know if you noticed it after the game when everyone was addressing the fans at the away end, and Regan Ogle was down tying his shoelaces, and Brabin just walks past him and nudges him with his knee, knocks him over. That was funny. And that's the kind of thing that's obviously going on. Bit of fun. They're enjoying themselves, and there's a good relationship. You mentioned about the formations before and things change. They're being coached. They're being coached properly. They're working on stuff in training, and it's showing. It's coming off on the pitch. And how many times, certainly under the Unsworth period, where we said, "What are they doing?" Like when we started the season against Southend, got beat 4-0, and they've had pre-season. Like, what are they doing on the pitch? What's going on? Like, what are they supposed to be doing here? And now it's evolved so much. Under Mellon, that we've got a team that, he's starting to, like he's fond of saying, represents us as a town. And you mentioned about heroes before, Andy, and speaking of heroes, Captain, you set a pretty high bar for yourself at Hartlepool on Boxing Day last year, didn't you? But pretty iconic photographs knocking about. We're there on New Year's Day this next year. Have you got anything else planned?
Well, yeah. It's become a bit of a running joke now, isn't it? I've just carried it. So I think the captain's outfit might be out at Barnet as well.
Right.
So we'll see what happens. I need a new one though. There's a couple of buttons that have fell off.
Yeah. Well, exactly. Just every time, just it looking more resplendent. Maybe you should give yourself a medal for every time you've been to a game.
Currently recruiting, or I'm looking for medals and adding to my lapels, I think.
Yeah. Well, look, I'm looking forward to Christmas, because Christmas is traditionally a poor time for us on the pitch in recent years. This year, we've got York on Boxing Day at Boundary Park. I mean, they've been travelling well. They're top of the league. That's going to be a massive game. And then Hartlepool, which on New Year's Day, which, proper Football League club, Football League ground. Went last year, won 3-1. It was a great day out. So it's looking good. I'm looking forward to those two games now. But obviously Rochdale in a couple of weeks is the big one. But I guess next week's the big one as well, Barnet as well. I mean, you'll be there, Andy. I'm sure Oasis will be out in force. And I'm sure after this weekend's performance, there'll be a few travelling down, because we've got that big... do we have a big end? Isn't there a big end at Barnet for away fans? Excuse me, away fans.
I've been to Barnet both seasons we've been down in this league, and it's basically got two stands. It's got like a five-a-side pitch behind one goal and a sports centre on the other side. But the stand behind the goal is decent, and it'll get a decent atmosphere. I can't go because it's a 5:30 kickoff, and I'm going out in the evening, so I couldn't. Once it was moved, that knackered me, so I won't be there this year. But yeah, I'm sure it'll be good atmosphere for sure. Can I tell you a little anecdote from my journey on the way back as well? So I'm on the train on the way back from Lime Street, and it was instead of being Liverpool fans or all the Liverpool fans that had come up, I'm assuming were staying up. I was surrounded by Brighton fans because they'd been at Anfield that day, and we sat next to these lads from Brighton, young lads, like 20, around that sort of age, and they're sort of complaining, they're chatting away amongst each other about how I think they went 1-0 up at Anfield and got beat 2-1, and they're complaining about the manager and how bad it was that they didn't get any points out of it, and they're not going to get in the Champions League, and they're hoping to get in the Champions League and all that sort of stuff. And I said to one of them, I'm listening to the conversation. My lad's fallen asleep next to me, so I'm listening to the conversation. And I said to one of them, "Oh, do you know who Robbie Reinhold is?" And this young lad said to me, "Yeah, I think so. Yeah." I said, "He scored a goal for you at Hereford on the last game of the season to keep you in the Football League 20 odd years ago, something like that." I said, "And you're complaining now about not being in the top 4 because you've lost at Anfield." So you've got to get a bit of perspective here. Brighton and Hove Albion, with the greatest of respect here, should not expect to be in the Champions. He's like, "Oh, no, but we keep getting close." And I'm like, listen, when you were staying in the Football League, we were in the Premier League, right? And we're in non-league now. And he's like, yeah. It's amazing how people lose perspective in it. You've got to keep when you're complaining, if you get beat on a particular game, you've got to keep a broader perspective on where you are. And if you do that for us, like the perspective that I've got for us is, yeah, we've been up there, but we nearly went out of business a very, very, very short time ago. And all we've needed is a bit of patience while the new owners sort it out and get the right coaching. Yes, they made a mistake. And look at where we are now and look at where we could be in another year or 2 years' time. We could. I'm expecting us once we go up, and it might not be this season. I hope it is, but it might not be. But once we go up, I'm expecting us to fly straight through League Two, no problem. And then all these games that we're sort of enjoying now are going to be nearly every week. Be brilliant, isn't it?
That's it. Well, but let's on that sort of note about football in general and perspective and stuff. Let's play the second half of that interview I did with Morris, and then come back and play Latex Mind.
I still think there's a lot of work to do in terms of helping people understand what OASF now is, what it's for, and what it's specifically trying to do. It sounds easier than it is to pull all that together over, with a group of you, like you say. I don't think it should just be up to the board to do that. I think it should be up to the existing membership to do that. I think there should be a role to play in that, and I think communication is really, really key. Getting the message out about memberships. It's not easy, but it has to be repeated. You know what I mean? Because people forget, like you said, because there's not urgency. It's not, in a lot of people's eyes, it doesn't matter now if OASF is strong or not, because the Rothwells are running the club and everyone's reasonably happy with how things are going. So, but that's kind of missing the point. The point is that the OASF needs to be strong. It needs to have lots of members. It needs to be, it has well resourced with money in the bank, for, like you said, for the rainy day fund and all that. But it needs to be able to sell itself and stay in the relevance, which is why I'm really keen for you guys to be on here as much as possible and to be communicating to the fan base as much as we can. Again, appreciate it's hard for the directors to do all that. And just as a cry out, if you feel you can help OASF in communicating, in getting the message out there, in contributing, whether it's via social media, one of the most simple things is to just retweet something or share something on Facebook or leave a comment, get behind it. Little things like that all make a difference, don't they? Rather than, because the board, it's not up to a board of directors to do all the work in any organisation. It's the board of directors' job to steer the organisation in a certain direction. So I'm hoping, I think, the things to look forward to are the next election, which will be sort of, what will the next August?
Next August time,
trying
July,
to encourage
August.
more memberships, more people to sign up and try and grow that board, get it up to 10 directors. I think, that's, get more people on the board by next summer, late summer, get more members, and then just keep growing it organically, slowly, year after year, and building it up like that, because hopefully we're going to be a pretty steady ship for the next few years as far as the club's concerned, and this is the time for OASF to incrementally, build up its. And then, like I said, with that fan seat on the board, if even when we get to the point where somebody takes that position, you want that person to be going into that role with thousands of OASF members that they speak for.
Yeah.
That's what we want. And then so that the club have to really pay attention to, what's coming through that director via the surveys, via the feedback, via the meetings and all that kind of stuff. And that's really the important key part of getting the pinnacle, really, of having that person there backed by thousands of members and that voice being properly heard through data and through information that OASF has gathered. Would you agree that that's the goal?
Yeah, that's the goal, and it's also building that active membership base that are actually working with us. It's difficult. We spend a lot of time each month, as you know, on OASF business doing various things. If we had more volunteers, just taking away some of those tasks like social media and pushing OASF, it would make our lives a lot easier. Having said all that, we enjoy doing it. Otherwise, we wouldn't do it. It's fulfilling when we do things like Boot Bank that help the community, and we want to do more and more of that. And hopefully, that'll help bring some more people to the ground and build our fan base. One thing we are doing at the moment is we're doing some activity sheets for kids at matches. Not many people probably know about that other than the kids, with puzzles and quizzes and prizes. So they're being handed out at most home games now. So we're trying to engage with the kids. But again, as you say, it's about us promoting things that we're doing, because some of the things we just do in the background and we don't shout loud enough about it. So going forward, that's what we've really got to do, and it's great doing it through medium like this.
I think, again, the marketing and the social media, the digital media stuff, if you're out there, if you're somebody who is either interested in that and needs some more experience in that kind of thing, or if you've got a son or a daughter or a niece or a nephew or a grandchild or somebody that you think might be interested in that, get in touch with OASF. There's opportunities there, isn't there? The thing is now as the CBS, there's opportunities to bring volunteers in to get them to get you trained up on stuff. You can use OASF as a vehicle to develop your own skills and your own training and advancement if in sport and in football and in community. So get in touch.
And they're all things that you can put on a CV. And we have had a volunteer that's done some marketing work for us and some design work, and that just helps him as well in his career and his interest in that side of things. We welcome anybody that wants to just have a go on some of our projects, and we've got plenty of things that can be done. And one thing we've just started talking about is possibly relaunching maybe a player share scheme, maybe not exactly in the same way that operated previously, but something very similar. But we're at very, very much the early stages of that. So if anybody's got thoughts on that, then we'd welcome feedback on it, and we may well do some sort of a reach out and survey on that.
That conversation was one we were having while I was still on the board, and in the past where we've had, you talk about it being a private business. Well, you wouldn't invest in a private business expect nothing in return, would you?
No.
So, like, you wouldn't, if say you're donating, or you were not donating, but you were investing thousands and thousands and thousands of pounds over a sustained period of time into a football club, into players. If you're investing into that private company, you're giving money, you expect something in return. The payoff is that responsibility, is that say at the table. Otherwise, you are just investing in Frank Rothwell and family's private business and getting nothing in return. And I don't think that's right. That's not how it should be. So I think, great. We need to generate ways of contributing to the running of the football club and contributing and investing, but not just for a thank you very much and a photo opportunity. I don't think that's right. I think there's got to be more there's got to be more in it for supporters and for OASF. And if they can start getting that balance, and that's where I think the club have got to start coming out. I know that Luke will be listening to this and Darren will be listening to this, thinking about ways proactively of, how can we support ASF to generate significant sums of money to pull into the club, but then that be reciprocated and acknowledged and matched, if you like, in an appropriate way, rather than just taking it for granted and saying, thank you very much, here's a photo op.
Yeah, the previous scheme was called player share, but the share wasn't probably part of the equation.
No.
That's where some sort of difficult decisions need to be made in terms of contributing to any scheme. One of the reasons behind converting to a community benefit society was to be able to access funds as a community benefit society for the benefit of the club and the fans. But that has to come at some sort of contra price in terms of how we relate to the club in bringing those funds in. And that's a discussion that has been going on now for a little while and will continue.
Yeah.
If we can access funds that the club can't as a private business for the benefit of the fans and ultimately the club, then we'll do that.
But again, it's that having that understanding that the club doesn't belong exclusively to its owners, because it's a football club and it never does. This is not specific to Oldham Athletic or anybody else.
Well, football clubs are a unique business, aren't they?
Yeah.
They've got the fans are massive stakeholders in football clubs, and it's just not like a private business, as you say. And a lot of that has been taken away. I mean, the Premiership is just lost to that concept of community and club. I think possibly the only one I can think of that's actually that's got a really good community is Ipswich Town, and they've just gone in the Premiership, so in time that might be eroded. I
think Brentford are quite a good model as well, aren't they? But I think it gets to the point where the sums of money are so astronomical that it's it's not virtually impossible as such, but it's so difficult for fans to contribute to the running of the club and in any meaningful way other than turning up and spending the money and doing whatever. Well, when you do that, you have no say in how that money is spent. You just pay it into the business and you expect then the board to manage that money appropriately and spend it wisely. I think if the fans can contribute by being organised, and it's the only way is being organised and making additional efforts outside of going to the game and buying merchandise and things like that. Then, and you rather than just handing over a cheque, you want to be able to say, well, this is where we think the money is best spent as a fan base in terms of protecting the longevity of the club. You know, you might hand over, let's just say a great scenario, you've got a brilliant supporters trust, it's got tens of thousands of members, it does loads of amazing work, generates millions of pounds a year. You could hand over, a cheque for £2-3 million and say, they could just go and spend it on a striker who then breaks his leg, and it's a complete waste of money. So it's having that dialogue and that relationship, that understanding, and developing a sustainable football club that will challenge and will do well on the pitch, but will not to the detriment of the ultimate security of the club.
Yeah, certainly in the Premiership, the fans have been left behind, and even. This last week, Man United are leaving behind the most successful manager in the club's history. They don't want him around.
No,
and that just shows the almost arrogance of some owners.
I mean, you get to a look. I mean, you can have a whole talk about billionaires, but Jim Ratcliffe comes in, bins off a load of staff, the kit man who'd been there for years and years, because he's a billionaire. And you don't become a billionaire by being nice and being kind and thoughtful. You could become a billionaire by taking as much as you can for yourself and as giving as little as you can as possible to everybody else. Yeah. That's how you accuse such massive wealth. So I've not got much time for billionaires, and I wouldn't want. Unfortunately, if you get to the Premier League, you're probably going to need somebody like that to run the club in terms of where we're at now. I wouldn't want someone like that running the club because chances are they fit into it, and it's been a bit of a general and a bit judgmental potentially, but they fit into a certain bracket and a certain characteristic. And I would rather Oldham Athletic become a sustainable community, more of a cooperative in terms of how we keep it running and being able to focus on what's important rather than all the money that is generated going to players, agents and clubs around the world. Because that's the model at the minute, innit? They spend so much money on players and players' wages that agents get rich, players get rich, foreign clubs get rich because we're paying them fortunes for their players, and unfortunately the rest of the football pyramid in England suffers. We don't get that big money from the Premier League teams. So yeah, it's a big topic, isn't it? But I think it being a supporters trust, you become part of that conversation, don't you?
Definitely, and we've really got to focus on trying to build that community spirit. And in the last 2 years, that's been broken down quite well by the Rothwells. We're on the path, and I'm sure there's a lot further to go. There's not many chairmen actually stand with the fans on the terraces, is there? And we've still got a massive opportunity to build on the goodwill and community spirit that we've started to engender. But and part of our role is to keep that going and to build it.
There has to be that alignment of understanding and where the board want to take the club and where the fans. It always comes back round, doesn't it? A lot of our fans are snapping your hand off for a billionaire on it, saying, "What are you talking about? Get them in there, get them spending all that money." But you're just ultimately going to lose your club even more than, sometimes. It's almost like when we were really on our arse and really struggling and the fans needed to come together, that's when you kind of get your club back.
Yeah, it
is. So I think it's understanding that, it's having that perspective of, you can't always get what you want and the grass isn't always greener on the other side, trying to have that dialogue and trying to sort of understand what do we want and what do we think is right for Oldham Athletic, because all clubs are different. And until there is some kind of level playing field with regulation and spend and all that, which there isn't and probably won't be for quite a long time, we have to figure out where Latics fit into that, don't we?
Yeah, it's a very difficult business to be in with all the money that floats about, and success does come at a price. We've got a good budget in that league, and people analyse the leagues, and when you look at budgets and the size of budget, it usually reflects positions in the league. We're in that situation, but as fans, we've got to try and build ourselves around that scenario, which we can't escape. We've got one of the top budgets in that league, and we're doing well in the league. There's a correlation, and it's difficult to break that cycle.
But if we don't get out of this division this season, it's going to be needed again next season, and the revenues don't come in from up high. So it's the fans, it's the owners that have to fund it. It's a really difficult one, and it's only going to get harder the longer we're in this division. So fingers crossed that this is the season that we make it out.
Yeah, it's starting to look good. So let's hope it comes to fruition in April.
Still only 2 spots though. That's the thing, isn't it?
Yeah,
it's very, very difficult.
Yeah.
Thanks a lot, Maurice. Good to talk to you, mate.
Right. Thanks, Matt.
I'll catch up with you soon.
Yeah. Thanks.
Cheers, mate.
Right, okay, so we'll play Latics Mind because everybody likes to join in and play it. As you played before, sure, you got a very high score, did you?
No, I got none.
Right, well. So, if you get 1, then you're winning.
Well, let's be hopeful then.
Let's try. If you're playing at home, good luck.
Who did Latics sign on loan from Walsall in December 2022?
Pass.
In addition to the Isle of Man, which other pre-season tournament did Latics take part in 2005?
Pass.
Debut goal scorers. Who scored on his debut versus Huddersfield in September 2011?
I should know these as well. Pass.
How many games did it take Latics to win a league game in 1989-90?
6.
5. Who scored a brace for Latics on the final day of last season?
Oh. A pass.
Debut goal scorers. Who scored on his debut versus Luton Town in March 2005?
Craig Davis.
Luke Beckett. When John Sheridan returned for his second spell as manager in 2016, who did he appoint as his assistant?
Tommy Wright.
Peter Shirtliff. Debut goal scorers. Who scored twice on his debut versus Charlton on the opening day of 1994-95?
Sean McCarthy.
Lee Richardson. Who is Latics' highest goal scorer this century?
Oh, Alan Groves.
David Ayres. That was last century.
Oh.
Newest grounds. Who scored Latics' first ever goal at the University of Bolton Stadium?
Mark Hallett.
Ben Garrity. Right, I've got quite a few passes to go through here, Matt. So let's test your skills.
I don't like it when you pass because then I have to embarrass myself. So,
who did Latics sign on loan from Walsall in December 2022?
No idea.
Peter Clark.
Oh yeah, of course, yeah.
Yeah.
Oh God, from Warsaw. Yeah.
In 2005, Latics went on a pre-season tour of where, other than the Isle of Man?
I don't know. Nigeria.
Ibiza. We played in the San Antonio Cup. Who scored his debut versus Huddersfield in 2011?
Don't know.
Chef Kikuchi. And who scored a brace on the final day last season against Wales? We got beat 3-2.
Mike Fondop.
Correct.
Hey.
That was rubbish, that, Tez.
Terrible. That I probably should have known as well.
Anyway, I hope you enjoyed playing along at home. That's the main thing.
Yeah.
And the main thing is that Latics beat Tranmere, and in just a matter of hours, we'll know who we've got in the second round. It could be something tantalising like Blackpool away. It could be something rubbish like Exeter away. I don't know if Exeter are in the draw, but you know what I mean. Or it could be, the teams that we've struggled. We've had teams like Chester, haven't we, in the cup, and really struggled at home in the last couple of years. So hopefully, now we'll put some minnow or other to bed if we do get them in the second round, and we'll get in the third round draw, which would be amazing. But let's not get ahead of ourselves. We'll see what happens, and then regardless of who we get in the draw, we've got Barnet away in the league, a top of the table clash that could reduce what's the gap between us and Barnet currently, Andy? Is it 5 points or is it 4 points? I
think we're 5 points off the top, aren't we?
We're 3 points behind Barnet, so we could go level with Barnet if we beat them, and potentially certainly close the gap between us and Forest Green and York. So it's all to play for. Ted, do you fancy Latics then for promotion? Are you confident that we'll make it either automatically or through the back door of the playoffs this season?
At the minute, yes, I'm going to say yeah, but I think this next November's a big month in it, so we'll hopefully we'll still be in and around it.
Yeah, so keep your eye out for the captain next week. Actually, the TV cameras are there, so I'm sure that they'll hone in on you in your captain outfit, and you'll be on the telly.
No doubt. My mum will be cringing at work again, won't she? And everyone keep on it.
Just show some level of decorum, won't you?
I'll try my best, yeah.
Nice one. Thanks for coming on, Tez.
No problem, anytime.
Andy, thanks for joining us again. It was good to see you yesterday. And it was good to see Thomas having such a good time, and you just cementing that Oldham Athletic spirit in him despite his proper London accent.
Thanks, mate. And
cheers,
thanks for looking after him as well. See ya.
No, nice one. See you later.
Hey Dave, did you know that listeners can now buy us a coffee or any other kind of hot beverage? What's your favourite hot beverage, Dave?
A macchiato.
And how do you like your macchiato?
Black with lots of milk.
No cream?
No.
Well, if you want to buy Dave a
macchiato,
then go to buymeacoffee.com/We Are Oldham. I'll just have a Nescafe.
Thank you, listeners.